Hello, everybody. We are recording an example exercise here today during our Zoom session. And I was looking in our course show and I noticed that I had the first 3 chapter 1 exercises recorded, but none of the subsequent ones. So what I'm intending to do right here, right now, is just demonstrate to you how to complete exercise 1.9. And maybe I'll even proceed on to one of the subsequent exercises depending on time. Currently, I do have my ebook open so I can see what the exercise is. And I also did a little screenshot of it for handy reference. And then I have my Spider IDE open to do my work. I'm going to begin by just creating a new file. And then the first thing I always do when I create a new file, and you guys should get in this habit, really good habit, is always save it right away, right when you start, and put it where it needs to be. I'm going to be working in my folder here, which I've already created for Python class. And I'm going to create a new folder for 2020 summer. And inside that folder, I am going to have another folder called Unit 1, where I'm going to put all my work for Unit 1, obviously. I'm going to name the program maybe exercise 1. Or actually, I'm going to go 1-9 and press save. All right, so here we are inside this file. Now, I do already have a print command in there, so apparently I saved the wrong file, not a big deal. But basically, you guys have, if you've goofed around with this at all, this is one of the most fundamental of all Python commands that you first learn. It's just a command for getting things on the screen. So you'll see that print is what we call a pre-built function in this language, meaning it's already set up to take whatever you put inside those parentheses, either inside quotes or not, and put it onto the user's screen. And when I say the screen, I mean the console or the command line. We're not writing graphical programs at this point. We're just doing what we call command line programming. So you already learned how to do like hello world and whatever. And then if you run that, it'll output it to the screen. So this is the output right here. Now, our goal, though, is to create this goofy looking little house. And in order to get this on the screen, we have to accommodate not only the characters that we're going to print, but the spaces that come in between them and whatever. So it's kind of teaching you how to work with what I would call ASCII art and counting spaces and whatnot. And so I'm going to get my snipped version on the screen here as best I can. I'm really reluctant, frankly, to go out of full screen, but I'm trying it because I've been running into problems, and people that are with me here know what I'm talking about. It took me just a while to get Spider on the screen for some reason. So that'll work right there. So I'm going to try to mimic this structure. Now, I'm noticing that this contains, I don't know if you guys can see my pointer here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines of code. So I know I'm going to end up using 7 print commands to make this happen. So I'm going to just copy my print command here, just highlight the whole thing, Control-C to copy, or right-click copy, whatever you prefer. And then I'm just going to paste it in 7 times like that. I use Control-V to do my pasting. It's a little faster than a right-click paste in my mind, but whatever you're comfortable with. And then I'm going to just start basically adjusting this to start matching what I'm seeing here. And maybe if I do this, I can see both at the same time. Now, guessing how many spaces I need to put in front of this plus sign, I mean, it should be 1, 2, 3 spaces in front of it. But then I noticed the longest continuous line is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters, and that's on the 4th line. So I'm going to go to the 4th print command, and I'm actually going to create this line first. So I'm going to do a plus, plus, and then I think 5 dashes, if I'm seeing that right, and then another plus. All right. And I'm doing this for a reason strategically, because that way when I start building the ones above, I have that as a guide. So You can see the technique I'm using here. And this isn't really, you know, I would say advanced programming by any means, but it does show you that you are working with a monospaced font set, which all coding languages are, that regardless of what character you type, they all take up the same amount of space is the point. And that's why you can do these little silly little diagrams this way. Now this weird character here is called a pipe, the straight up and down one, and that's right above your enter key, which is the shift of the backslash. That's how you get that one, if you're wondering. And then it looks like a space, I think a dot, a dash, a dot, a space, and a pipe. Does that look right to you guys? And then the next one seems to be a pipe, space, pipe, space, pipe, space, pipe. And then the bottom line finally is plus, dash, plus, dash, plus, dash, plus. All right, that looks about right. Would you guys agree? All right. I'm going to go ahead and do a Control S to save. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button. And then we'll put it up on the screen. It looks to me like I succeeded. So that, folks, is completing exercise 1.9. All right. You know, and since we're on a roll, why don't we just continue? I'll just move on to the next one and just follow this pattern. I understand if you guys need to drop out of the session if you have other obligations, but I have myself another 20 minutes I can spend here with you guys before I have to go to another meeting. So let's go back to the book then. And actually, let's go back to the course show and look at what the next exercise is. So we completed 1.9. The next one I'd like you to do is 1.11. So let's read the description on that one. So I have that here in VitalSource. So 1.11 says, write a program that prints 3 items, such as the names of your 3 best friends or favorite movies. All right. So I think I'm going to opt for movies because right now I'm questioning a lot of my friends on Facebook for sure. Because of like how, yeah, right. Enough said, right? Yeah, I think I might go through and do a culling today of friends. Actually. So the people that might watch this video in the aftermath, right? We are recording this video during the pandemic, during all the protests and stuff that are happening, and yeah, people's true colors comes out, and sometimes it scares me. So, all right. Once again, we're going to create a new file. First thing I'm going to do is a save as. It's going to go into the same folder, and I'm just going to, actually I'm going to click on the other file name and just tweak it so I don't have to retype the whole darn thing, excuse me. So it's going to be 111. And once again, we want to print our 3 favorite movies or 3 friends. So I'm going to opt to do movies. So I have that already like copy pasted from my previous program. So I'm just pasting in the print command. You can type it out manually. And I'm actually going to be polite to my users and say, my 3 favorite movies are, right? And then, you know, I think it'd probably look good if I had a blank line after that as opposed to just list them. And then I'll go to the next line. And, you know, frankly, I'm not really sure what my favorite movies are anymore, but I'm just going to come up with 3 for the heck of it. I'm trying to think of like anything that I've seen that's interesting lately, and I can't say that I've seen anything remarkable. So why don't we somebody throw out a movie title? What's something you've seen? Moon? All right, we got Moon. Arnie, you want to give me
Avengers?
There you go. Got to see that, right? Required viewing orders. And how about I'll throw in an oldie but a goodie. The Godfather.
Which I've never seen, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, everybody has the same reaction.
I know. You know what? For as silly as stereotypical as it is, you definitely gotta see that movie. But always keep in mind the second movie is better than the first. So if you like the first one, the second one is amazing. All right, let's go ahead and hit play on that and see if it comes up on the screen. And there you go. Also a reminder for those of you that are submitting this as homework, the pattern is you have a Word document. You can use Google Drive also, but just make sure you save it in a doc format. And you just simply can screenshot. If you're strategic about how you screenshot, and I always tell people, don't give me your whole darn screen, please. You know, arrange things on the screen so I can see all the stuff I need to see, get it really close together, or if you have to screenshot the code and the output separately, do that. And what I'm going to do is I just kind of brought them closer together, brought up my snipping tool, selected new, and I'm going to kind of grab, I think, maybe from here to here. I mean, that shows everything, right? And I'm just going to do a copy, go over to my document, and I'll just say exercise 1.11, paste in the image. I'm going to press enter once or twice and say, I had no problems with this, and Arnie needs to see, just to add a little levity to it. But, you know, I always appreciate if you put comments in. You know, if it worked, hey, whatever. But particularly if you have a challenge of some sort or you didn't get it to work, this is a great place to give me feedback. In fact, I sometimes tell people, you know, I could not get this to work at all or something. And you might even want to make it like bold and, you know, red and highlight it yellow or something to get my attention and let me know. Because if you do have a problem and I notice it, and usually it'll be something simple, right? I often, if I know that you're struggling with it, I'll give you a little tip, and then you can fix it, turn it in, get the rest of your points. You know, remember the point. My preference is to teach you how to do it right, not necessarily to punish you for doing it wrong. That's really, you know, and to more importantly to understand why it's right or wrong. All right, so that's another exercise out of the way, folks. That's 1.11. Let's move on and see which one we have to do next. We go to 112. 112 says, write a program that prints a poem of your choice. If you don't have a favorite poem, search the internet for Emily Dickinson. All right, so I think I have plenty of poems that and I'm thinking of like ones that probably I shouldn't put on screen, but once again, we're in the time of the pandemic, so I have all these like things going in my head that probably shouldn't be going. So this is exercise 1-12. And I did a save as on this, just so you know, just so I could kind of reuse the infrastructure I have in place. 111 is still there, so don't worry, I didn't delete it. I just saved it as a new file. And, you know, if you can't think of a poem, what I always tell people, hey, you know, how about some song lyrics, right? And so thinking about the pandemic and the protests, this is the first song that comes to mind. What's the next line in that song? You guys know what I'm typing up here? Pink Floyd song. The words go, breathe, breathe in the air. Yeah. Well, you'd probably have to look it up. So look up the rest. But that's really kind of the point here. And, you know, this is a very easy assignment, folks. Easy, just do it. You know, hey, if you want to come up with your own poem, go ahead and just get it up on the screen. So this is exercise 112. And, you know, sometimes I find this fascinating because it's kind of like a bit of a almost a way to introduce yourself to me, because, you know, if you have like a favorite song or poem or whatever and you put it out there, I get to see a little bit about you, you know. So sometimes I run into people who have like the same kind of like quirky, weird interests in like music or things that I do, and, you know, I strike up conversations with them, or maybe introduce me to something I've never seen before. So this is exercise 112 completed. Screenshot that, and you can see, you know, the pattern is pretty simple at this point. And I'm hoping you're getting encouragement from that. So next one is 114. Hey, we're going to finish all of these exercises. All right, this one gets a little more challenging. It says, write a program that prints a 2-column list of your friends' birthdays. In the first column, print the name of your best friends. In the second column, print their birthdays. Now, I'm going to tell you what, I really don't care if you use actual names and dates here. And in some cases, I would say, actually, maybe it's a good idea not to use a real name because, you know, the why is this is the kind of silly information. I'm going to be posting this video on YouTube. This is the kind of silly information that people can latch onto. And if they social mine you or like fish information out of you and they know somebody's like date of birth, that's like another piece of information to hack them. So for that reason, you know, invent something, you know. So let's go ahead and do this. New program, save as, and exercise 114. I still have that print command in my buffer here, I think. No, I don't. I guess I'll actually have to go through the laborious task of typing it all over again. So difficult. And once again, I'm going to use the same technique that I did before. I'm going to take that command and paste it a few times. Do you guys remember how many times? Is it 4 friends? Is that correct?
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say. All right, I think 3 or 4 is fine. And I might do something like mom or something like that. Yes, my mom's my friend, which is probably not a bad thing, you know.
No.
And here's her birthday. Oh, the year is right, let's say, but not the rest. I don't know. I'm sure I have a friend named Joe somewhere. Yeah, I'll put my son's name in here, I guess. All right, and that once again, very simple assignment. What you might also want to do, and you just think about this, is you might want to do some things to, once again, make things a little more clear for your users. So sometimes I would do something like name, and maybe over here, date of birth. And then I might even do something silly like this, you know, create a little divider or something. And how you do the layout, I guess, is really up to you, just to make it look a little nicer. You know, the typical thing I tell people is don't assume the user knows what you want. Be verbose, make it look as cool as possible. And you see, you know, the simple little techniques I'm using. And in fact, I could even put a little divider above it, you know, hey, why not? Let's go ahead and run this. You see the little list it makes, you know, nothing too fancy, but at the same time doesn't look too bad. You know, in the old days when we used to program and we couldn't program for GUI environments, we could only program for the console. Sometimes, you know, a nice little orderly layout like this on the screen is pretty important. I will tell you that knowing how to work with text even on a rudimentary level like this is important because sometimes you do have to control output in certain ways. And a lot of times that the output that you generate from the program is then used in subsequent programs to do other things. Right, folks, that was exercise 114. Screenshot that and submit. And then one last exercise, if I remember right, 115. And our instruction there is this. Oh, this one actually has you do research. It says in the United States, there is no federal sales tax. And I think most of you probably know that. Although there has been times when we've discussed actually adding that, hopefully not. So every state may impose its own sales tax. And I always ask people, do you guys know what the sales tax is in Wisconsin officially?
No.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. I think statewide it's officially 5%. And then depending on where you live, like here in Milwaukee County, and I think most of our district, Racine, Kenosha, and Walworth County also have an additional 0.5%. So it's 5.5 in most of our counties. And in Milwaukee, we have some residual ones for like stadium projects and whatever. And I think it's like 5.6. What I think is also fascinating, a lot of people don't know, is that there's different sales tax rates for the entertainment industry. So like if you go to a restaurant, the sales tax is higher at a restaurant. In fact, sometimes it's often double what it is from purchasing objects. And what's really cool in Wisconsin, though, is we do not have sales tax on food. So if you ever wonder, like if you live in Kenosha County and you go to Woodman's right near the county line or the state line there, why so many Illinois people drive up is because not only are they saving because they're going to Woodman's, right, but they're also not paying tax on their food. In Illinois, the sales tax, like in Cook County, is like pushing 10%. And so you go out and you buy a steak for $20 and you're paying $2 sales tax on it.
And it's higher for sugar, isn't it?
It is, yeah, that's right. And they have a higher like premium rates on weird things like that. And then their entertainment rates are even higher, and they use those funds, of course, to pay for different things. Now, to complete this exercise, you're really going to follow along with very much the same things that I've already done. In fact, I'm going to take 114 and do a save as on it because it looks like my structure is going to work pretty well for it based on what we see on screen. And so I'm just going to come in here. I'm just going to change a couple of things. And we say state and tax rate. And I don't know if that's what they're asking for exactly. Maybe I should go back and actually look. You guys should, yeah, sales tax rates. Okay, so they have it all as one thing. So let's just do that. Sales tax rate. And then you just start putting in the states. And yes, there are states like Alaska where there is no sales tax, right? They don't have all the infrastructure that we have to support and inflated government structures there like we have down here. They also don't have a lot of the same support mechanisms either, so that you take that with a grain of salt. You know that Wisconsin, you might want to abbreviate, generally speaking is 5%. Where's my percent key there? Here we go. And that, and really for the rest of it, what they want you to do is just actually go out there and research it. Go out to the internet, type sales tax for a state. So, we have a couple of people in our programs that are, from the state of Illinois, and you might choose to abbreviate whatever. And I think down there officially statewide, it's 8%, et cetera. So once you have, this completed, they want you to do 5 of them. And let's just assume I did all 5 and get it up on the screen and you're done. Now, this first chapter is very simplistic. It's really just getting comfortable with that print command, which you will learn as you go. You're going to use in almost every program, because the typical thing when you write a computer program is you have, some sort of objective often that involves getting user input, maybe doing a little bit of math or making some selections, and then ultimately putting that information back up on the screen in a way that's useful for your user. So it's a command that you'll use in almost every single program that you run. There are variations on this, and we'll cover those as we go into chapter 2. So like if you're working with numerical formats, there's ways to format that. So things, can like dollars and cents, for example, or how many decimal places after the decimal point, or if there's even a decimal point. And that's called print formatting, and that's covered in chapter 2 in depth. But folks, this completes all of the exercises. So now I'm kind of understanding why I didn't record all of them, because they're really pretty easy. But now we have a solution for them, and managed to get it just before my 1 o'clock meeting starts, which is fantastic. We got all the work done. So I'm gonna stop the recording now, and then I will see you guys in the next recording.